Tired of your steering wheel? I was. This isn't the original steering wheel that came with this car. I actually got this aftermarket through Foxy Wheels, and I did a lot of research, and I actually got very frustrated trying to get a cool looking steering wheel for my E550. A lot of things that people don't know, and we're going to go into those shortly and cover the stuff that you need to know before you actually attempt this. And this is actually something you can do at home, and it isn't too hard. You just need to have the right size socket and some Loctite and a lot of patience. So we'll get started. Okay, something that some people don't know. So when you get steering wheel kits, they may or may not specify you have to change this column piece out. So this is the sleeve that goes over the steering wheel column. It has all your controls on it. And depending on who you get your steering wheel from, you may have to purchase another one of these columns. And you have to get it to match the back of the steering wheel and to your car. Now, it's easier said than done. This is a 2011 E550. And I was looking for a really cool steering wheel, and I couldn't find a matching column to the steering wheel that I wanted to put in. And you need to have a matching column, and they have to actually match up with the functions that you have on the column sticks and what your car is capable of doing. So, you just can't go and get any sort of one. You have to get the right one and the variation that will fit your new steering wheel. So I was really frustrated trying to find this. I couldn't find the right one that had everything the way it is. I didn't want to lose options that I had, and I didn't want to have anything that may be on there that doesn't work with the car, an extra sensor position or whatever that wouldn't work with the car. So it was frustrating. I actually gave up looking for a new steering wheel, and I thought I'd be left with this granny steering wheel that I have on the car right now. Well, at the time. And you saw the picture earlier. So what did I do? Well, Foxy Wheels, I found them, and I started speaking to them, and I said, this is the car I have. They asked me some questions about the car. I gave them the details. Then they came back and they said, yes, we have a steering wheel that will work with your car. And the first question that I had was, do you supply this, or do I have to supply the column? And the answer was, no, you keep your original column. Everything mates up to it. The light bulbs went on, and yes, I bought the steering wheel that you currently see. This nice C63 style steering wheel, carbon fiber, perforated leather, and I got the round airbag. Now, some of the things you need to understand when you're doing this, and I'm going to move over here and actually get in the car, is when you're putting these in, you have to do some certain things. The first common mistake is with the battery. Yes, you have to disconnect the power from the car. Once you've done that, you can't go straight to removing your old wheel. You cannot just go straight in and remove that old steering wheel from the car. You need to go to your start button, pop out if you have one of those keyless go, push to starts. Pop that out and turn your car to position 1. Yes, your battery's disconnected, it won't start, but you need to drain any excess power. And I watched a whole bunch of videos on this, people doing the job, switching it, and a lot of these guys ended up with airbag warning lights. Why does that happen? Well, that happens because you've triggered something in your engine's ECU, your engine control unit, or the onboard computer system, whichever is the one that handles it, depending on the brand of your car. But the onboard computer is saying that there is a fault. there was power still in the system when you unplugged your airbag. So it's not going to like that. So what I did was I went and stuck my keys in, turned it to position 1, and let it sit for about 30 seconds, turned it off, and then let the car sit for another 30 seconds. Then I located in the back of the steering wheel where the bolts were to release the front of the steering wheel, because you have to take it off. That released the airbag. And in the photo above, you'll see what I saw. Now, there's a black plug and a yellow plug. That disgages the front part of the steering wheel with the airbag in it, and it disconnects the airbag as well. So you disconnect those, but keep an eye on what color plug went where, because you're going to have to repeat that when you put your new steering wheel back in, especially if you're replacing the airbag, such as I did here. I went to a round airbag. I didn't want to get the plugs in the wrong order, because you might find when you put your power on, you might actually set off your airbag, and you don't want to be in front of it. So what I actually did was, well, Mercedes was nice. They actually said yellow plug. They had it actually embossed onto the inside of the steering wheel, so you couldn't miss it. But I still took a picture of it, so I know when my steering wheel is in the straight position, yellow plug, black plug, and then I started to plug everything in. You also have to make sure you get the right steering wheel and the adapter module that fits inside, because that will make these controls work with your car. I got the carbon fibers because my car comes with that option to use the carbon fiber shifters. So I got everything basically built to spec that I wanted for my car. The next part was to get the old steering wheel off. So that center nut that you see above, you have to get that off. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's no easy task. They put that thing on really, really tight. One of the suggestions that I had from one of my mechanic friends was to shock the bolt. Now, when I say shock the bolt, I don't mean electrocute it. You just give it a whack with a hammer. Not too hard, just enough tap, not to drive the steering column in, but just give it a whack. What's called shocking the bolt. That knocks off any of the Loctite use. It loosens it up, and then you can put some pressure on it to undo the bolt. Now, it is going to take you some pressure to undo that bolt. They do not put it on lightly. Last thing the auto manufacturer wants is the steering wheel coming off when you're driving. So that thing is on tight. You're going to have to hold down on one side of your steering wheel, like I'm doing, to kind of counteract, because you don't want to put too much force on your locking mechanism. So I had my hand on this side as I was putting the weight on the other direction to loosen the nut. Once I get all that off, I know where my yellow plug goes, where my black plug goes. Then I put everything on. Make sure your wheels are straight. If you have something like my car, you can go into a menu and it shows when your wheels are 100% straight, because you want to line up if you've got one of these racing stripes on it, you want to line that up so when your wheels are straight. This is at the 12 o'clock position. And you want to make sure that, this is straight. So make sure your wheels are straight. I don't trust the onboard system, so I even went and looked to make sure my wheels were straight. And then I put a little piece of tape on the top to mark the 12 o'clock position on the console, so I know what 12 o'clock is. Pull your steering wheel off. If you're reusing your airbag, that's fine. You put it back into your new wheel. If you're doing what I did, the application where I've got a round airbag, you're going to have to put that on, and it's just simple as you hook up the one plug, the yellow plug, to the yellow port, the black plug to the black port. Depending on the manufacturer, they may have it blue and black, or they may have it green and black, or green and red. Just make sure you get them back in the right order. Put everything in, made sure it was nice and straight. Put the lock nut in first. So I put all the washer back in, and then I put the screw back and the bolt back in. I used some Loctite on it. Not as much as Mercedes did. When I looked at theirs, they had that thing coated all the way. I just gave it a nice one band around the bolts, and then I put it in and locked it into place. Gave it enough foot-pounds to make sure it's in tight. It's not going to come off. Don't over-torque it. You can check on some sites, may have what foot-pounds you're supposed to go to. I just put it down until I felt it was comfortable and it's not going to come off. And then I hooked my plugs up, yellow to yellow, blue to blue, or black to black, and then put it all together. Now here's the downside. If you're like any modern car that has an onboard computer, after you've disconnected the battery for a period of time and discharged the full electrical system, you will have to reset your windows. Just letting you know ahead of time. If you go down and you lower your window and it doesn't come back up all the way, it's because you're going to have to reset them. The same with your sunroof. You'll have to reset them. Small price to pay. You may have to plug in your radio stations again if you got those presets. Small price to pay not to have a airbag warning light go off and your car's throwing codes because you have an airbag error. So once this was back in, this type of airbag just clicks into place. There's actually 2 holes in the back where you stick a screwdriver, and there's a tab, and you push the tab and it releases this on a spring to remove the airbag. Of course, anytime you remove the airbag, you want the power to be off and discharged from the vehicle, because you don't want to set this off. There is like a charge in here that will blow the airbag out, and you just don't want to have that go off in your face at this close range, especially if you have tools. So once it was all in, plugged in back in my battery, and then started the car up. Yes, I had to reset my windows, my sunroof, reset my radio, my time, all that. And then I was trying the controls on here. All the lights lit up and everything worked. And I did not get an airbag error alert, which is the one thing I didn't want to get. If you do have one of those errors pop up and you have a code reader and eraser, you can actually clear the code and then shut your engine off and then try it again and see if the code comes back. If it doesn't come back, great. If it does come back, then you've done something wrong. You're going to have to take the steering wheel off again and check everything. So you want to make sure all your connections are in there properly before you do anything. And yeah, then you've got a cool looking steering wheel, and it's not that hard. Like I said, the frustrating part of it was actually finding the steering wheel and not have to go and shop for a new column. I didn't want a control column that I had to go re-buy, because I honestly didn't want to go that far taking it apart. It looks really cool, and looking outside the vehicle, that's a pretty cool steering wheel. So it gets a lot of comments on it. People ask me where I got it. Like I said, I don't really promote products, but if you're looking for a steering wheel, you might want to go and hit these guys up, because you don't need a column. And this might help you out. I wish I had this video that would have explained it to me, because shopping for a new column just was frustrating, because Mercedes won't sell you a different column. They will only sell you what matches your vehicle VIN. And then going looking for aftermarket that would work, or any others, was frustrating, and I couldn't get any information out of the dealership. They were not wanting to tell me what was compatible. They just said, we don't recommend any changes. And then that was it. Conversation over. So there you go. I'm going to put the link to these guys. So if you are looking for a new steering wheel, it doesn't have to be a Mercedes. It can be any vehicle. They have tons of choices, reasonably priced. I didn't break the bank. And I've got this really cool steering wheel that just makes the interior of my vehicle look more modern. And like I said, if you saw the old steering wheel, it was like they made the steering wheel on Friday, thought they had the next week to finish it off, and then they built the car. It just didn't match the interior of the car. So this gave the interior a refresh look, and I only replaced the steering wheel. So there you go. If you think this is useful, click on the like and subscribe, and I'll be making some more videos soon.